why don't you first give us an assessment of the Navy defensive performance on Saturday against East Carolina, if you would.
Well, I thought it was much better than it has been. I thought that was the most solid game that we played all around. I was really, really proud of some of the improvements that we made. In particular, I thought we got ourselves out of some really bad situations, especially in the first half there. I think, they were 1 for 5 scoring touchdowns in the red zone, which was huge. Kids came up with were resilient, came up with some really big stops down there. I thought we played a lot more physical up front. We put a huge emphasis on that last week, and we got off the ball much better. We made some personnel changes in there that helped us during the course of the game. Getting Diego and Tama back helped us a lot. Terrell Adams' second game, a little more experience, helped him a lot, certainly. And so I was really pleased. It started to look a little bit more like Navy defense. Some of our goals that we haven't been able to accomplish this year that are major points of emphasis for us, like being disruptive, for example. Our goal was to be 20% disruptive. We were 24% in that game. That's the best that's been all year. We were 10 out of 13 getting off the field on third down. And like I said last week, we got them in some third and longer situations, and so your chances are better getting off the field. And so that goes back to being disruptive on the early downs. We were able to do that. Certainly didn't fit up some of the run game stuff as well as we should have. And part of that, a large part of that's on me for not adjusting, getting that fixed during the course of the game. So we'll be better at that. But overall, still have a long, long way to go. Our players know that. They know that this team coming up this weekend, we're going to have to play much, much better to have a chance to win this game. Playing a Houston team that's extremely athletic at the skill positions, big physical up front. You got a trigger guy that's an experienced, very, very good player. And, of course, Dana Holgerson is a fantastic play caller. So we've got a great, great challenge ahead of us. Going to have to play much, much better this week to have a chance to win.
You mentioned about some of your measurables. I've been meaning to check on this, and I'm sure Strauss has it in the notes, but how are you doing on the Get Six mantra so far this season? And whatever amount of games we've had, how many times have you achieved that goal?
Not very good. We got it in Tulane. I think we got 9 in that game. I think we were right at 5, Scott. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think we had 5 in this past game. So
I gave you credit for 6. I credited the block field goal.
Okay. Yeah, it's 4th down stop, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
So we got 6. So yeah, what are we, 10-0 when we get 6, Scott?
We are 10-0 when we get 6.
With regard to the run game, it seems that at times the issue is getting out of lanes and losing containment. I thought when the tailback, who's a very good player, he's going to be a good one. But I thought when he had the long runs, particularly the long touchdown run, it wasn't that a blocker just blew away a defender who was in the gap. It was he found a hole and there was no one there. Would that be accurate or is that inaccurate? Yeah,
no, that's accurate. To my point earlier, saying that we were more physical up front, got the ball control, that we controlled the line of scrimmage despite the amount of rushing yards that we gave up. I think they rushed it 45 times. If you take away that 80-yard run, it's right at 4 yards a carry, which is not great. Certainly want to be better there, but we weren't dominated at the line of scrimmage like the statistics might lead you to believe if you just looked at the paper. But yeah, we didn't fit that particular play up right. Diego came out. Mitchell Johns went in and should have boxed a pull and we didn't, or we should have spilled it and got over the top. And so, like I said earlier, that's a little bit on us as a staff. We got to do a better job of coaching that up on the sideline and making sure that our kids know how to fit certain plays that maybe we didn't see going into the game.
With regard to a couple individuals, first of all, Diego, it seems that he is kind of the heart and soul of the unit, and the guys kind of galvanized around Diego. Having him back on Saturday, did you feel that made a difference? Do you feel it uplifts the whole unit when they got their leader out there making plays? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Our guys know he's a good player. They know he's gonna play hard for them. And like you said, he is
he's not a captain on paper, but he's like a captain out there for us on defense. And I thought he played really, really well. Plays extremely hard, and so that obviously, galvanizes everybody, as you said.
And then two other guys I'll ask about before I turn it over. How did you think that Nicholas Stroll played at the Raider position in place of Lawley? And I also thought Sia at nose guard, he seemed to show up. I just happened to notice him quite a bit during the game. I thought maybe he was impactful, but you know better after reviewing the film.
Yeah. I thought Nick Stroll to change positions in a week. I thought Coach Downing did a tremendous job getting him ready to play, and I thought he was exceptional for what we asked him to do in such a short amount of time. He still has a long way to go learning the position and certainly made some mistakes, but as you naturally would expect him to make. But I thought, considering the circumstances, I thought he was outstanding. And as far as CO goes, he did a nice job when he went in. Daniel Bernard started the game for us, and I thought, true freshman there at nose, undersized guy, really explosive and strong. Thought he did some really, really good things. Really excited about him, his future, his near future, and his future here. I think he's going to be a really good player.
All right, I'll pass it off.
Phil Bergman.
Hey, Coach, quickly, we're talking with Okafor tomorrow, I believe. Just what you're seeing from him out there. I think he had a block in the last game as well.
He did. That was a huge play in the game. Coach Hall subbed him in there just for that particular reason. He's a 6'4" guy. He's got some reach and some range, and did a great job getting some penetration there, and got that block, which is a big play in the game for us. Not only that, he started a 3 technique for us. I thought he did a great job. Thought he went in and did his job, played his role, did everything that we asked him to do. And I was really proud of Toby. Did a good job.
Just looking ahead to this Houston game, I saw they've had double-digit numbers of receivers each game this year. Obviously, they have the 2,000-yard receivers, but how are you preparing for a Houston offense that literally has about a dozen threats out there on offense?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if you got any tips for me or not, but well, first of all, you kids have to understand their personnel. Our guys watch the film, and they're smart guys. They know that the biggest thing. You can look back at last year's game. We gave up a lot of X plays, a lot of big explosive plays, and you can't do that against a team like this. And so that's the challenge. It's easier said than done because they are so athletic and so fast on the perimeter. So we've got to do a great job in the back end of keeping everything in front of us, understanding where certain receivers are in formations and things like that. And we've got to do a good job as a play caller of putting us in a good position, protecting guys when we need to be protected, getting guys help when they need help, things like that. So it's a huge challenge. This is one of the most athletic teams I've seen in a long time on film. So I'm excited about the challenge, but they're certainly scary on offense.
Thank you.
Sheehan.
Yeah, just one from me. Coach, a couple weeks ago when you were telling us how the Zoom meetings moved to in-person and everyone kind of raved how much better that was. Any other adjustments that have been made over the last couple weeks? Have you guys been able to get back to any more sense of normalcy or tweak things up?
I think that's been a really, really good deal for us. It's good for our players, good for us too. I think it's good for the camaraderie of our players just to sit in a meeting room together and be able to shoot the breeze and talk. And, you lose a lot of things. People don't think about, for a long time, we lost just time you sit in the locker room and chit chat and cut up with each other and things like that. And so not only has it been great for the teaching part of things, but it's good for their interaction as well. But, I think the last few weeks, our practices have been ratcheted up. Become a lot more physical, especially early on in the week. We'll start out today, right out of stretch. We'll go to inside run, which we started doing last week, and I think it's really paid off for us in the short term so far. And so we're going to continue to do that, continue to harp on pad level, getting off the football, winning at the line of scrimmage. But that helped us a lot last week.
Joe Miller.
Hey, Coach.
Joe.
One wanted to ask about, it seems like, and obviously you can see the numbers too, that teams are really running the ball a lot on you guys on first down. Has that affected how you call defenses? Because, I was looking at the numbers. It's like, the last couple games, it's almost 70 to 80% of the time teams are running on first down against you guys. Does that affect how you call defenses?
Yes and no. I mean, the teams that we've played are, they're run football teams. And so they're going to do that predominantly on first down. If we have any tendency, in the breakdown, things like that, it would certainly affect the way that I called the game early on. We're going to be a little bit more aggressive and obviously call something that specifically to defend the run first. But we typically do that on 1st and 10 anyways. That's our deal here. We want to stop the run first and foremost. Haven't been very good at that this year. Thought we were better this past week despite the numbers. But we'll continue to put emphasis on that and get better at that. And when we can do that, like we did last year, and we're able to get people in 2nd and 3rd and long, then generally we're playing pretty good defense. Because we've been pretty good around here on 3rd down, especially 3rd and 3rd and long. So we got to do a better job. But no, I don't think it's really affected my play calling. To answer your question, Joe. So far.
You kind of touched on this earlier, but you guys given up a lot of explosive runs. And is it you've talked about the fits and all, and I understand that. Is it one thing, or is it multiple things right now that have led to some of those explosive runs?
I think it's multiple things. I think early on in the year it was due to lack of physicality. The way that we went into preseason camp and the way we practiced and just not physically being ready to play. I think that was a big part. We got pushed around a lot. And when you get pushed around and get out of your gap, then of course that's really hard on the linebackers. And so we didn't fit things correctly. So early on, it was a combination of both. Our tackling still not where it needs to be. But if you look at the game against East Carolina, they ran it 45 times. We only gave up one explosive run in that game, which I think is pretty good. Now they had too many 7-8 yard runs, obviously, but we didn't give up explosive ones. It was, when we got it tackled. And, so we're getting better. We talked about yesterday, we've gotten a little bit better every week. Now we need to make a big jump, now moving forward against Houston and the games coming up. We're about to run a gauntlet against some really, really good offensive football teams. And if we don't get a lot better, then we're not going to have a chance to win those games. So our guys understand that. And right now they're practicing with a purpose. Our guys are smart, man. They know what their deficiencies are. They know where we need to get better. And they embrace that, and they take coaching, and we got to do a good job as the defensive staff of giving them a chance to be successful and putting them in the right position and ask them to do things that they can do. And so, I think we're getting better, Joe. We're not where we need to be. We're a long ways to go, but some of our young players that we're playing their first snaps of this season, their first meaningful snaps really, have shown a lot of improvement. And I think that's going to continue. And that typically happens, with the younger team. We've got some veterans too, but these younger guys that didn't get spring ball and they really didn't get a true fall camp, you like to see their development go up and up. And I think that's happening. I really do.
One last one for me. Outside of the interceptions last year, I thought Toon played really well against you guys in that game down in Houston. Can you tell us just a little what you've seen from him as far as what he does well and what he does well inside this offense? Yeah,
well, I think he's a complete quarterback. He runs the offense very well. He's efficient at what he does. He throws a really, really nice deep ball. He's got some nice tools around him. And he's athletic. He's good enough to beat you with his feet. So mix in just enough quarterback run to keep you honest. And then, when they do drive back to pass, and he can avoid getting sacked. And a lot like quarterback East Carolina, when he starts to scramble, his eyes go downfield. They don't come down. And he finds receivers, and they do a good job of getting open. And I know I'm sure that's something they work a lot. But, yeah, he's scary. I mean, he can do everything. He can make all the throws, and a bad combination for defenses, when you can run it and throw it like he does.
Thanks, Coach.
You got it.
Wags, any follow-up?
Well, yeah, Diego was saying yesterday that the Houston's offense is a bit unique within the American Athletic Conference, and I think most fans will be like, well, it's wide open spread offense. It's the same as everybody, SMU, Tulsa, whatever. But Dana does have his own kind of unique scheme that he used at West Virginia and elsewhere previous. Can you kind of talk about what that is and why it might be different than other teams and, passing teams in the American?
Yeah, well, I'll say this about their offense. When they throw the football, they do a really good job of spreading you out and getting you in space, especially underneath defenders. You get a lot of motion, a lot of window dressing. And in the run game, they're going to try to create numbers, pulling guards and tackles and things like that. And so, and they're balanced, and they don't mind running it on third and medium to long, when they get down their 50-yard line. So they do a good job of keeping you off balance. They do enough, formationally and motion-wise to kind of keep you off balance a little bit. And he's always got some wrinkles. We went to that game last year and, saw a good amount of empty, a good amount of unbalanced things we hadn't seen previously, and he'll do the same coming in this week. And like I say, he's a really innovative offensive mind and does a really, really good job. And when you've got a good O-line, a good quarterback, and you've got great skill players, and a great play caller, it's makes our job tough.
The other guy I was going to ask you about is the Marquez Stevenson. I think you saw a little bit of him last year. He can get behind people and get downfield. Is that a guy that concerns you? I know Keith Corbin is a good receiver too, but there's a lot of former AAC guys in the pros, James Prochet and Cortland Sutton, but I think this guy might be joining them. Yeah,
he can fly. His speed is frightening. It's the first thing that jumps off when you watch the tape. So he's one of the guys that I mentioned earlier, just knowing where certain guys are in formations. And we got to know where he's at all the time. You got to give a little bit more space to than others, because he'll run by you in a hurry if you don't. He did that to us last year a couple of times. So our kids know who he is, but I tell you, they're all scary. They're very, very athletic. He's not the only one that can get behind you.
And last for me, the one guy that the injured player who did not return Saturday against East Carolina was Ivin Foxman. Mm-hmm. Any concern that could be long-term? And then can you talk about, I guess, Atwater's filled in for him, and I'm hearing he played pretty decent. At least Coach Niemot said that on his Monday presser. But, Foxman's status, and if he can't go, you feel good about Atwater's? Yeah.
I don't want to comment about Evans, his where he's at right now in his recovery. But I say that we certainly miss him, man. And I hate that he had the injury. It's unfortunate. He's one of our best kids in our program. Worked harder than anybody else has, and we certainly miss him out there. With that being said, I think Atwater's done a nice job. He's one of those young guys that is playing his first meaningful snaps, and so he improved tremendously from the Temple game to the East Carolina game, and I expect to see that improvement continue. Mitch West is a guy that's going to continue to get more repetitions, and Kevin Brennan can also play free safety. So we've got a little bit of wiggle room and some things we can do back there. But I thought Atwater did some really nice things, and he's got a bright future here as well.
I wanted to ask about obviously Nelson a little bit here. I know you've talked about in the past how you're proud of him, how the way he's responded since last year, and he's sort of just gone back to work and worked hard and to get back to this spot where he's carrying the ball for you a ton. But what on the field, has there been an improvement that you've seen on the field from him over the last last year and a half, or is it just sort of just his hard work and determination that he's seen this success?
Not just his hard work and again, his perseverance. We're all competitors, and when you lose your position, it's not always the best feeling. He could have very easily, had a bad attitude about it and, went in the opposite direction. But he did the complete opposite. And I've said it over and over again about him. He's a complete team player. And again, I'm just happy for the kid because, again, he's a good football player, really good football player. Now Jamil just kind of came on and had a great year for us. But, again, doesn't complain about it. But he's definitely showed up for us, my man. He has shown up and he has been rock solid, running the ball, very, very physical, taking care of the football. And hopefully we can continue that trend for the rest of the season.
Wanted to also ask about, are you concerned about the lack of rushing yards from the quarterback position? I know you're getting the results from the fullback and you're getting the big plays and you're getting the wins and all that, but is there some concern that the rushing yards right now aren't there from the quarterback position?
I mean, you can say it. It's a concern, but at the same time, we're winning. So I'm not going to complain about it. Just going to continue to go to work. That time will come. That time will come where, we'll get the quarterback going. Again, Dayton had a good run for a touchdown, this past weekend, which was a major plus for us. So, yes, and over the years, obviously, our QBs have rushed for a lot of yards. But again, that's not our strength right now. Our strength right now is, throwing the football, when we need to, but also just running our fullback and our O-line's playing really well. So, go continue to play to our strengths. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure we'll get the quarterback going here sooner or later.
I just wanted to ask also a little bit about Nelson. As far as, you talk a lot about his personality, but what exactly has he improved physically from last year?
He's lost some weight. He's a lot faster, a lot more explosive. Again, I'm just happy to see him playing fast. I mean, he hits the line of scrimmage with a different speed, even more now. So again, just lost some weight. He's a lot faster. He's more durable, and his condition is a lot better. Normally, Nelson make a long run, he has to come out. But I think that one drive he had a long run, then he stayed in for the next two runs. And I think he eventually scored. So happy to see that. Again, just going to continue to, him and Jamel, Thunder and Light, continue to ride those guys for the rest of the year.
He mentioned that when I was speaking to him, said he got caught on a long run last year, and that has stuck with him in his mind that he didn't want to let that happen again. So that was kind of a off-season focus. Has he talked to you about that, or did you guys have some fun for him getting chased down from behind?
No, obviously, we gave him a hard time. I believe that was a UConn game. I think regardless of what, I think he had the longest run from line of scrimmage last year, I believe. But no, just kind of gave him tease him about it. But you can see too, he went to work, and got on a good diet, stayed strong, but also got a lot faster. And hopefully, time will come where he can make that long run and he can take it to the house for us.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Wags.
Hey, Ivan, I'm going to kind of dovetail a little bit with what Joe was asking. Obviously, the fans always ask about the perimeter game. I mean, they're thrilled the fullbacks are doing so well, but then they wonder about the slot backs not touching the ball enough for as Joe brought up about quarterback yardage. What do you feel the perimeter game can be fixed and will be fixed, or is that other issues?
Yeah, no, it's not. There's no issues at all. It's just a matter of what's working for us right now. Right now, our fullbacks are running real well. The far perimeter play, we've been getting the ball on perimeter, just having men making a lot of yards. Again, we're going to continue just to be who we are, just continue to work. We'll get into a game where a team might give us a perimeter, and we'll take it. But as long as we can run our fullback and keep the ball inside and soften people up and run our fullbacks, we can continue to do it. Again, the quarterback will get going here soon, and our perimeter game will get going here soon. Just got to be patient. Like I've always said, it's offense like Novocaine, man. Just give it time. It'll always work.
When Tiger got in there, he had a couple perimeter plays that worked. I think he had a nice gainer to the outside on a keeper, and then I think he might have had a pitch or two. I mean, where are you with Tiger? I mean, do you think we could see more of him in spot action as the season goes along? Because I thought Tiger looked pretty good on Saturday.
Well, that's what we've always tried to make sure we have. We have two QBs that can go in there and get the job done. But as far as I'm say right now, Dayton's a starter. Dayton hasn't done anything to split time or anything like that. Again, he's earned it. He's done some good things. And again, Saturday, he took a big hit. Probably could have came back. Well, we just played it safe. He's clear to go today. We're excited about that. But again, Tiger's going to continue to be solid. When his time comes, and he'll get back in there, and hopefully he can do the same thing, go in there and just play well, make great decisions, and get us a W.
Obviously, Dalen's been accurate throwing the football. I think he was 3 of 4 Saturday, minus that one bad throw that he'd probably like to have back. first and foremost on that play, on the interception, was that strictly the case of the receiver being taken down, or should Dalen not have uncorked that?
No, it's going to be a one-on-one route, and we to tell our guys, give our guys a chance to make a play. She was just tripped. It was one of those bad things that just happened. But the good thing that I liked about it was that we turned the football over, but we came right back, and took the next drive down and scored. So we had to answer that. Guys didn't get down on themselves. No one was hanging their head. They just brushed it off and came right back out there and took the next drive down and scored. So that was more. I was just happy about seeing that more than anything.
What I started to say with regard to his throwing accuracy and the fact that he's proven that he can hit shots downfield, do you think teams are keeping their safeties back a little more, and maybe that is helping the fullbacks pound the middle, that teams aren't loading up the box because they know that Dalen's capable of throwing it downfield?
Every team has their game plan, and I want to come in here and play this. Some teams are going to be aggressive. Some teams will try to say, hey, let's be smart, make them truly earn it, make them have to drive the football and score. Don't give them any cheap ones. So everyone has their game plan defensively and how they're going to attack us. And we've seen a little bit of both all year, aggressive secondaries and people who stayed back. And again, we just got to make sure that we're smart. We're not forcing anything down the field. And again, as long as we can run the football, we're going to run the football. That's always who we are. So we'll see as it goes on. The team continue to stay back, and we can still throw the football when teams stay back too. So that's something that's not going to tear us from throwing the football. So we'll see how it goes, and just continue just to find our ways to score points and move the football.
What's it been like being a captain on this team this year for you?
It's obviously cool to be in this position, but it's definitely been very challenging given the environment that, this season's taken place in. But I think for, the three captains, it's kind of a challenge, which we like a challenge, or you wouldn't be an athlete, a competitor. So I think, that we've all accepted our role and how weird everything is right now, and, just trying to make the best of it.
That said, how have you guys settled into kind of the new practice regime that the coach got you into after you were done with the BYU game and kind of changed your COVID practice protocols?
For us, it was pretty much back to the way we practiced for the last 3 years. So it wasn't anything, weird for us. It was more weird for us to try and do the COVID practices than what it was to switch back to what we were used to. So, it was smooth in my opinion, and it's paid off.
What's it like playing side by side with Peter as a starter for the last 2 years?
And Peter's a goofy dude, so we make fun of each other. Even during the game, we'll say things to each other. But Peter's an awesome guy. Love playing beside him. I was kind of worried coming into the season that coach might think about splitting us up just because the dynamic that we have together, and we've been playing together for so many games now. I really didn't want to play beside anyone else. So I think, that playing beside him makes my job easier. I think he's a great guard. And I just like being beside him.
How exciting is it for you guys when you get back-to-back games like Nelson and Jamel have had for you the last couple of games?
That's huge for us. Obviously, the fullback is what makes our offense go. If the fullback's going, then we can get other things, rocking. So we obviously, early struggle against BYU, and then the first half of Tulane was a struggle, and then Air Force was a struggle. So, to get a little bit of consistency there, I think, can bring some confidence to the younger guys who haven't really played too much. I think that'll help them in the long run, seeing Nelson and Jamel get out there and do their thing.
What's the biggest key for being an offensive lineman, specifically in the triple option offense?
There's a lot of things, obviously, but if you're talking like athletically, then it's going to be, trying to be fast, not being too heavy where you slow yourself down. But obviously trying to find that balance between being, heavy enough to hold your own, but fast enough that you can get to the next level, and strong enough to move those guys who are obviously going to be bigger and stronger than us. But then, I think the biggest key for us is just, not being we have to be selfless, and then also just have like an attitude about us that we're not going to get beat by somebody who's bigger, faster, stronger, and on paper better. You know, we just have to find that find it somewhere deep down, you know, that pride, and just roll somebody off the ball.
What's it like for you in practice when you're going ones-on-ones against guys on defense like Jackson and Diego who are playing with that same type of attitude?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and those two and the rest of the defense as well are all ultimate competitors. So it makes it tough in practice when obviously we're trying to take care of each other, keep each other healthy for the game on Saturday, but then also wanting to beat them. It makes it tough. So you have to be smart, and obviously Coach Neiman does his job. You know, he stays on us about staying up and not taking people to the ground or cutting and all that. So it's just about keeping the ultimate goal in mind, keeping each other safe, keeping us healthy. So
what's impressed you the most about this Houston defense that you're going up against?
Well, on Friday night I was in the hotel and I was watching the Houston BYU game with Sean Ratty, and I mean really just the way that, because I mean we know obviously how great of an offense BYU has, and so just to see them like actually kind of control that offense there for the first 3 quarters of the game was very impressive. I mean, in the first half they pretty much did nothing minus that one play drive they had. So obviously they're really good defense. We played against them last year down in Houston, and even then, even though I mean we scored I don't know how many points, but even then, like you know as a player how talented and athletic their guys are. So, you know, now that it's another year and a lot of their players have seen, you know, kind of what we bring to the table, they're going to be better, and we know that. So we just got to do our job, and that's really the only option we have, and try to grind out, you know, some drives, try to take some time off the clock because they're a very athletic football team.
Thanks a lot, Billy. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Phil Bergman, do you have anything?
Yeah. Hey, Billy, Phil Bergman, NavySports.com. First, this gauntlet of games that you guys are about to start on, it starts with Houston. How are you preparing as a captain for this next set of games?
I mean, really the only thing there is to do is just, you know, remind the guys that it's, you know, 1 week at a time, back to work. I mean, really every week we just got to treat it as do or die. You know, if we lose one of them, then that could be the difference between a second place or a first place finish, as we saw last year. Just losing that one game to Memphis cost us our chance at the championship game. So just, you know, just kind of taking my experience and just passing it on to the younger guys and making sure they understand how vital these games are, and really that we can't be getting off to the slow starts that we've seen in the past. We got to, as soon as we get the ball, we got to go down and score, and we got to continue to score against all 4 of these, you know, upcoming teams.
Young guys, speaking of that, behind you on the depth chart, you got Kip and Jake, both sophomores. What can fans know about these guys, and just what's this dynamic like in the O-line room?
Yeah, well, they're very talented guys. Obviously, they wouldn't be where they are if that wasn't the case. But, you know, both of them are guys who come to work and, you know, are grinding it out. I mean, obviously they want to be on the field. And I think they're getting closer, and I would say Coach would say the same. But, you know, they're gonna put in everything they have in order to get on the field and to win football games. And I mean, we've seen a lot of growth from them over however many weeks of practice we've had. And you know, I mean, they're 2 great guys. Obviously, they embody, you know, what Navy football is. So really excited for them to, you know, get going here soon.
And then last for me, this game's going to be the halfway mark of your senior campaign. Is it starting to hit you yet that senior year's here, captain, the home stretch?
I don't think it's, you know, really best for me to think like that. I think I just got to treat everything. Obviously, my number one goal is to just win football games, and ultimately, you know, hopefully get a conference championship, be the first team to ever do that here. And so I think if I were to, you know, kind of look at it in that light, then that would kind of take away from what this season is and what we can do as a team. I'll have plenty of time to look back on my career once it's all said and done. You know, it obviously comes to an end here. So I'll have several years to think about everything that we were able to accomplish as a football team during my time here. So
Cool. Best of luck. Thank you.
thank you.
Wags.
Hey, Billy, it's Bill Wagner from the Baltimore Sun Media Group and the Capital Gazette newspapers. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Wanted to talk a little bit about the fullbacks. And on Saturday, they got a lot of the yardage, did a lot of damage on that right side. Nelson Smith even mentioned how much he enjoys running behind you and Peter. Can you talk about how good that feels for you and Pete to be able to consistently open holes that the fullbacks can find over there on your side of the offensive line?
I mean, that's just our job. Like, that's what we're expected to do. We've been doing it for our second season in a row of, you know, being in the position that we're in. So especially at this point in our careers, we're expected to do that. And there's times where, you know, I would say Peter would say the same thing, that we're not perfect and we need to get closer to being perfect. We make too many mistakes still. So, I mean, obviously, yeah, it feels great, you know, but I prefer, you know, to see them in the end zone more than, you know, like our self-pride of, you know, being able to have our name mentioned or something like that in the newspaper. I'd rather see the points on the scoreboard. So.
Can you talk about the chemistry? You alluded to it earlier when you were talking to Scott, but the chemistry that you and Peter have developed, and, you know, maybe explain to people why that's important for two linemen to play one next to each other, to understand just instinctively what the other is going to do. Why is that so crucial?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, so I didn't go to naps with Peter, didn't go to naps with me. So it was kind of coming into plebe year when we first met, and I had already established the relationships that I had established with the guys on the team. So I would say at first, you know, Peter was kind of, you know, not somebody I really talked to a lot, but obviously we both started traveling as sophomores. So we talked a little bit, but then as we went into that spring during our youngster year, we started playing beside each other, and I was trying to learn tackle and he was trying to learn guard, and we just flipped spots. So I think, you know, we were able to help each other out a little bit in that sense. And then obviously when everything's going fine, it's really easy to, you know, like build relationships and all of that. So with all the success that we experienced last year, everyone got along. So I think that was a huge part for, you know, me and him creating that bond that we have now. And then, so now it's second nature. Everything is just come to work, and, you know, we like to be on the same page. We communicate with each other, and you know, make sure that we're understanding what's going on. And then, what was the second part of your question?
Just why is the chemistry important? Why is it important for a guard and a tackle to kind of instinctively know what the other is going to do?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, like if you know, you pay attention to what ECU did last week, they were moving around all the time. Pre-snap, they would move. We would try to check a play. They'd move. So, you know, if you and the guard or the guard and the tackle can be on the same page and understand what they're trying to do, then you don't have to worry about like thinking. And that's something that coach is huge on. You know, don't think, just play football. And obviously, being in the offense long enough, you kind of learn the rules of all the other positions. So even you know, per se, me and Peter weren't so close, we would still be able to kind of understand what each other were doing. But then, I mean, the second aspect of just understanding and knowing what's going on is just communicating, like I alluded to earlier, just, you know, making calls, calling out the techniques of the defensive guys, and just kind of understanding, you know, the play call and all that. So.
I don't think people that don't understand the option, who just watch Navy football casually, realize that when you run the fullback dive, it's not just straight up the middle all the time behind the center, that there's offshoots, that there's all sorts of different blocking schemes. And Coach Niemot mentioned after the game how you'll try some things, see what works, as he said, probe and probe. Without giving away any secrets, can you just kind of talk about the fact that there's a lot of different ways to get the job done as far as springing the fullback between the tackles, and that, like obviously Saturday he was going kind of off tackle a lot, I thought. Can you just talk a little bit about that without giving away state secrets?
Well, obviously, like I said earlier, the fullback is the life of the offense. So if we can get it going, it opens up a lot of things for us. But even more so, we're able to take what the defense is giving us, and if they're playing aggressive, then I might be washing a guy down, and that opens it up an outside lane like you were talking about. I mean, it really just all comes down to that. And then the other aspect to it is that our two fullbacks are, unbelievable athletes. I'm not sure how much they weigh, but I know that I'm probably not too far ahead of them, and I don't run nearly as fast as they do. So, that's a huge part of it, is just the way they run like A-backs, but are able to, lower their pads and run through somebody. And that's honestly probably the biggest part of it.